Chapter 1. Late spring swathed the Wolfmoors in verdant blankets of wildflowers and grass. Astrid sat in a sunbeam, smiling at the sky. The last smudges of snow melted days before, giving way to scrub oak and trailing ivy vines. Herds of elk and bison speckled distant meadows from the hilltops, and the howls of newborn Amarak pups filled the nights. She swayed on the back of the powerful Amarak wolf, Atka. Since she'd returned from the filthy village of Drakby, where she defeated King Oscar and ran from Princess Rosamund, Atka's muscular frame had filled out again. A predator's light filled his eyes, and his gray coat rippled with a healthy sheen. Atka was her mother's old companion. He had morphed into a wolf half his age. Her own wolf, Maera, padded along their side with her tongue out, smiling wide. It took her twice as many steps to keep up. She, too, had added a great amount of size in the year since Drakby. She doubled her height and filled out through the shoulders and legs, but resembled a regular timber wolf instead of a massive Amarak. Other giant wolves and their riders, the Ulfsark, surrounded Astrid on all sides. A council of war would gather soon, with other Ulfsark tribes and delegates from Auckland attending. This hunting pack sought fresh meat for the council. "So," drawled a familiar feminine voice from Astrid's left, "who's excited to see the bard again?" Astrid frowned. Her best friend, Freydis, laughed harder. Mention of the handsome bard that Astrid had befriended while in Drakby wasn't unexpected. Freydis loved to tease her, but she hadn't thought of him while hunting. At least, that's what she told herself. Inside, her anticipation at seeing Ewan again simmered like a pot of water about to boil. Of course, she'd never admit her excitement out loud. Not to Freydis, of all the Skolvarg. Don't lie to me." Freydis wagged a finger. "I saw the sparks between the two of you. It's been a whole year since you last saw him. At the very least, you must be curious what he looks like now, right? He's bound to have changed in all that time." "We both have." "Exactly!" Freydis squealed, "which only makes it more exciting. He was so handsome before. Can you imagine after a year?" She whistled long and low. Astrid tried to calm the flutters in her stomach. Yes, she'd thought of it before, but fleetingly. She didn't let the thoughts linger or else she'd get distracted. Atka worked hard to train Maera on being a good Amarak wolf. Though Maera would never be a full Amarak, she'd been gifted the mental and emotional connection to her rider that other Amaraks enjoyed, necessitating some training. It required both of them to focus. Movement ahead drew Astrid out of her thoughts. She straightened to see better, her legs tightening around the broad expanse of Atka's shoulders. Maera's nose popped into the air, sniffing. Relieved to change the subject, she asked, "What's going on up there?" "Don't know," Freydis murmured. Huntress Vanna and Packmaster Hakon halted the pack of Ulfsark and Amarak. The two of them dismounted, taking their spears and bows. As soundless as possible, Astrid and Freydis followed suit. Vanna crouched, studied the ground, and dragged her finger along something in the grass. She lifted her head, pointed to the west. Hakon nodded. "Tracks," Freydis mouthed. Astrid silently agreed. Their spears and bows were for protection only. The Ulfsark didn't need bows and arrows when the Amarak wolves hunted with the deadly efficiency of an apex predator. These lands weren't called the Wolfmoors for nothing. They'd been stalking a herd of elk for several hours, and the plan was simple. Until the Amaraks had time to get into position, the Ulfsarks remained as silent as possible. Then, they'd noisily creep to the west and push the herd animals into the narrower eastern exit of the valley, right to the waiting Amarak pack. Hunting with so many Ulfsark had been a learning experience and a pleasure. Understanding the plan without being told, the rest of the hunters dismounted their wolves. As one, they veered to the left, slipping around the rise of a grassy hill studded with rocks and a short cliff at the top. The Amaraks peeled off to the right, out of the wind and into deeper timber. They'd follow the river to obscure their scent, noise, and emerge at the exact right spot. Astrid sent Maera a reassuring smile when the adolescent wolf glanced at her from the rear of the departing pack. Through their connection, granted by the blessing of the spirits, Maera's anxiety slid into Astrid like a rush of cold water. Astrid attempted to shudder it off and project calm to the wolf, but their connection made big emotions difficult to ignore. With Astrid's smile, Maera's fear faded. Her confidence had space to grow, but had built in impressive ways the past several months. After slipping silently through the forest for close to an hour, Vanna and Hakon halted. With an elevated fist, they gathered all 7 hunters together. Vanna signaled using 2 fingers drawn in a line, directing them to stand in a single file.